What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's going on, man?
Me. Welcome back to another episode of Over the Counter Podcast. We are the Good Brothers of OTC.
Hmm.
Man, it's bloody out there. It's bloody out there. Hope y'all doing all right. hope
Man,
hope y'all doing all right. Hope y'all not ready to jump out a window just yet. That's all I'm gonna say.
hey, man.
Um, Bruh, we gonna have to get into it, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got an update on tariffs because China and Trump, they measuring it. They measuring it. So, we're gonna have to see what's going on with that. And then we're gonna talk about companies in the United States with ties to China and how turbulent their time might be, especially during Trump's administration. And then we'll get into some deals that the market is presenting because it's a lot, whether you're in the crypto market, whether you're looking at stocks. It's plenty solid buys out there. Not financial advice, but we still gonna get into it. Um, yeah. W- How you feeling? How you feeling
Um,
about all this?
I'm feeling good, man. I talked about it yesterday on my YouTube channel. Let me just give y'all some perspective real quick. Give y'all some perspective. Um, so I well, first let me tell you how the day went. The Dow Jones Industrial fell 349 points today, about down 0.91%. The close at 37,165. S&P 500 declined 11.83 points, about 23 a 0.23% drop down to 5062. And the Nasdaq 100 fell a little bit as well, but we're looking at it. I talked about this before. I want people to understand that these different levels when we're talking about these drops, the difference between a pullback, correction, bear market. Pullback is 5 to 10%. Correction is going to be 10 to 20, and the bear market is anything over 20%. So year to date, S&P 500 futures are down. Year to date, we came up a little bit. They started to recover a little bit. We're down 13% year to date, which puts us in correction territory, which is a lot better than yesterday because we were headed towards bear market territory yesterday. And then when you
I
go
think
up,
we was like what 2% away from
yeah,
bear market.
yep.
So
And then
that's pretty close.
you go to Nasdaq 100 futures; those also rebounded a little bit, down 16.70. So Nasdaq is still in that correction mode, a little closer to bear market territory, which you can expect. It's tech heavy. Tech is getting hit more than anything else right now. And then gold is ticking down just a little bit, still outperforming everything else, still up 15.64%. So that's what's going on in the market, man. It's a lot of volatility, a lot of turbulence, a lot of uncertainty. But you know, it's a good time to buy, good time to be starting positions, a good time for long-term investors to be, building up those positions. So I'm excited. I'm excited. It's good sentiment for me, regardless of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I definitely because of how hot it's been running for as long as it's been running. I expect a slight correction in the price of gold. Like I
Yeah.
would not be shocked if it fell 5% year to date before it took off again. So if it's currently at 15 something, yeah, I expect it to come down to like 10.
Yeah, I mean it's still up over 3,000, still up big on the year. So I don't really, of course, it dropped a little bit. So people was they're talking about on CNBC maybe it not being the greatest hedge. Saying they were talking about basically it not being. They were basically saying that bonds are the go-to right now. It's outperforming everything, which is true, but I still think gold has a place.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really just depends on what you're looking for in terms of a hedge. Like, yeah, bonds, it depends. It depends. Like, are you looking at the 10 year?
Mhm.
Because I mean that was pretty low, and then it rallied 30 basis points just today. So again, for those that don't know, usually economists look at the 10-year treasury note and the yield that it's generating, to give a good determination of, you know, overall market sentiment, overall market outlook. And the further out, obviously, the more choppy, the more uncertain things can be. But if the 10-year note has a high yield, that usually means that most economists think that, the market isn't going to be good for quite some time. So people park their money in 10-year notes to generate those yields for a longer period of time. Um, the fact that it was ticking down was a good sign, but I mean, when you recover and you recover 30 basis points in a single day, I don't know, man. That don't sound too good, dog.
Yeah, I mean, we're in uncharted territories. We're definitely on uncharted territories. Things are definitely. I said this yesterday. I feel like anybody who's acting like they know what's going to happen in the market is a little bit delusional or lying to their audience, because we're literally dealing with an administration or Trump who has pretty much the power right now to either flip the switch or drive us deeper into the red with a tweet.
Right.
So I mean, if you look at the VIX, I mean, the VIX is at 46.98 right now. It peaked at 53.76 today. We're at the highest levels we've seen in the last 5 years as far as VIX, Fear and Greed Index, at a score of 4. So, regardless of we had a decent day today, things are still we still walking on eggshells right now.
Right. And like I think people that aren't necessarily in the markets, they don't necessarily look at charting or anything like that. Bro, price never moves in a straight line, no matter what direction it's going in. So like even if it were to be going up, you would see slight, downward movements here and there before it can continue up. Same thing with when price is going down. It's not going to go down in a straight line. You'll see some minor correction or minor stop there as bulls in this case try and retake the market. But if their buying power is not as strong as the sell pressure, then obviously sellers are going to win. Bears
Yeah,
are going to win in that situation. So um, just keep that in mind when you see green days, especially small green days compared to the red day previously, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, we really didn't recover much of what we lost. And then the volatility today was actually kind of crazy because, there was what turned out to be fake news, I guess.
false headline.
uh, Bro, them headlines talking about the 90-day pause and stuff like that, and we rallied right there. And then
Mhm.
CNBC had to come out and say, "Oh, dang, we just got word that this is fake news," and then we fell right back down. So, like you said, literally any tweet from that regime, whether it's Trump directly or any of his people speaking for him, can send the market in any direction, as we're seeing right now. So, um, regardless of all of that, though, that to me that's noise. To me, that is nothing but noise. What I'm looking at is opportunities of a lifetime right in front of us.
For sure.
We're gonna get into the charts a little bit later, but these tariff situations, bro. Like now, you got the European Union talking about they willing to negotiate and do zero for zero tariffs.
Then
Vietnam,
they
go
also
ahead.
imposed 25% tariffs as well. So
Yeah, shortly after that. So it's like,
yeah,
bro, like what is it? What like no like everybody playing their own game right now. Everybody trying to measure their dick to see who got the bigger one, this, that, and the third. Man, you just don't know. You just don't know. So anybody acting like they do know, uh, to me, they're not really trustworthy because when we talk about it, it's talking about from a perspective of this is what I can see happening. It's not like, oh, we know this is going to happen because nobody knows what's going to happen. We can only give you our opinion, and we got to adapt too if things change. So, China, on the other hand, in regard to these tariffs, they not really backing down. Vietnam, they inked their deal, which they probably had to because Nike. you know, big American company in terms of shoes, but most of their outsourcing is in Vietnam. So Nike would have continued to take a massive hit if Vietnam got hit with some tariffs. I honestly think them tariffs would have ruined Vietnam as a country.
Well, same thing with Apple. Now they're looking toward. Now they're looking to what is it? Apple is looking to another country for their cell phones as well. I want to say it might be. I forget the country. I forget the country. But
Yeah.
they're looking to another country as well for in regards to their supply chain. But in regards to China and just tariffs in general, I want to put into perspective, how much the the broader market actually accounts for the returns and the profits that we see in our American companies. The Mag 7, 50% of the Mag 7's earnings come from abroad. 41% of the S&P 500's earnings come from abroad. So
I
CEOs,
think
they
go ahead.
they
Now go ahead.
these CEOs, whether they're speaking out publicly or not, it's some meetings going on right now. People trying to see
Yeah.
what's going on.
No, they gotta meet, bro, because I think we talked about this on Friday, actually, this past Friday. You know, when I did not know that 41% of equities, the stock market basically, is internationally owned. That's a massive percentage. So that means most of our growth is coming from dollars overseas, not American born.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of countries, let's say China, for instance, they're able to invest over here, but we can't necessarily invest in a lot of things they got going on over there. So, and
Hmm.
on that, we don't really control manufacturing, and when you don't control manufacturing and supply chains and rare minerals and things like that, when it comes to these companies, you're giving up some of your equity. So I don't know. It makes
I
sense.
find it interesting that other countries can invest in the United States, but the United States can invest in dealings that other countries got going on homeland. You know, I find it sell out ish that, for instance, China can buy farmland over here. We couldn't do that over there.
No, they're not going for it.
No, they're not going for it. So why do we? You know, I'm just finding certain things kind of interesting. Just things that make you go, wonder why that is. Because a lot of stuff feels backwards, and it feels backwards intentionally. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Um, you know, I'm actually not shocked at how China's handling this tariff situation. They not flinching.
We caught this. Bro. I said that China was gonna be the one to play ball. If nobody else played ball, China was going to be the one to play ball, and the EU would be the one to play ball. And China's never really been one to back down. They didn't back down during Trump's first term. We had a trade war with them going back and forth, and I feel like even historically, if we look at certain wars, they've always been willing to die on their shield. Nothing
Yeah.
changes now. When you're dealing with two leaders, you know, like China's leadership and our leadership, it's gonna be a fight to the end. Neither guy is gonna want to take a knee. Both want to declare victory, and I think that it. Trump said it's over 70 countries meeting and willing to drop their tariffs and erase the deficits, and they're offering this,
Hmm.
and they're offering that. But does that mean anything if China, one of probably the second largest market when we're talking about the United States and in the amount of trade that we do with them. Because I pretty much equate any trade we do with Mexico, a lot of that from China anyway, because they get a lot of components, raw materials over there. China just funnels things through Mexico to avoid
Right.
tariff altogether. Does all of those other smaller countries coming to meet and making deals, does that mean anything if we're still having all of these tensions with China?
I don't know. I think it depends on ultimately who has the best hand. And right now, it seems like most of these countries feel like the United States has the best hand, which is why you see them rushing to make these deals, and all of a sudden we willing to talk and negotiate and this, that, and the third. The European Union though is kind of confusing to me because how do you announce that you're willing to negotiate, zero for zero tariffs, but then like not even an hour later, you talking about proposing 25% tariffs? So, to me, this is a big game of cat and mouse. You see the smaller countries capitulating quite early because they just ain't got they don't have the power to swing around and make demands and stuff like that. So, really, this is going to boil down to the United States, China, and the European Union. Out of them three, you know what I'm saying? Who gonna come up? Who gonna come out on top? I think the European Union gonna capitulate, and it's just gonna be China and America at the end. And both countries are extremely hard headed. They're extremely proud, so it's not gonna be easy for either one to back down. And the way Trump is operating, bro, bro. This look, man. This is a man that's willing to set fire to all this shit.
Yeah,
He
I think
don't care.
he pretty set in his ways, man, when it comes to this, when it comes to lowering interest rates, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to a lot of things, man. And we still haven't even seen the full brunt of these tariffs. We still got
Right.
more coming on Wednesday. We
Yep.
still that thing is still boiling over with China. They're putting 34% on US imports. Trump says as a result of that, if you don't pull that back, I'm gonna put 50 on you, which will put the tariffs on China at 104%. And then it's no telling. It depends what China has already said that they're willing to fight to the end. So we'll see what is Trump going to come back. What is he going to rebuttal that with tomorrow? And then what do they rebuttal that with? Right now, I don't really see any silver lining right now when it comes to us and China in regards to this tariff situation.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what they get from us if we do a lot of trade from between the two, because we don't really produce a whole lot. So what's
They don't really buy much. They don't really buy much from us at all.
right? What's the need? If I can make it everything, why do I? What do I need to buy from you?
But
Besides maybe like oil or something. But then I got trade partners with Russia. They around the corner. Why do I need oil from America?
another thing is the reason why you don't see China too faced with these tariffs is because they've been through this with Trump before. And what did they do? They maneuvered and funneled things through other countries to avoid the tariffs.
Right.
And unless Trump has something in place to prevent that this time around, they're just going to continue to do the same thing and avoid the tariffs. Granted, their stock market is being greatly affected. I think both countries will feel pain from this, but I feel like America will be able to take the pain a lot longer than China will. But like you said, both are stubborn, and we'll just have to be collateral damage along with our stock markets until they find some resolution or middle ground.
All right. So speaking of collateral damage, um, you got a lot of companies that have ties with China that are going to be caught in the middle. American companies with ties to China that will be caught in the middle. So one of them that come to mind is, well, I guess it's not a company, but really his whole portfolio of companies potentially. That is Elon Musk, and you got Tesla, you got SpaceX, them type of things. What other companies can you think of that might be caught in the middle? And we can circle back to Elon or whatever.
Apple for sure, Nvidia, a lot of the chips, a lot of the semiconductor chip stocks, and then that brings into play Taiwan. Because they're kind of in the middle of the United States and China. So there's a lot of companies that could be affected via supply chain, via market share when we're talking about China, which is why I'm kind of playing it safe in regards to emptying the clip on certain investments because I think we could see this thing drive down lower. You know, I know the market didn't have this black swan event that everybody thought it was supposed to have today, but there are still a lot of our companies that have exposure over there in China, and you know, we'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, some of these companies they're probably we heard a lot when we heard the tariffs were first coming before a lot of this stuff started to go into effect. A lot of companies are front loading their supply chains and inventory. I don't know, how much they front loaded, whether it was 6 months, a year and a half. But eventually, those inventories, those supplies chains, all the stuff they front loaded, it's gonna start getting slim. Um,
Hmm.
if they haven't found a way to pivot, haven't found another supplier to meet those needs, that's another catalyst for stocks to go even further down. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. We got Q1 earnings coming up. I'm excited to see guidance and kind of how these companies are navigating their capex in regards to this tariff situation. But a lot of companies in our stock market got exposure, not just to China, but abroad. We just mentioned those numbers: the
Right.
50% of Mag 7's earnings and 41% of S&P 500 earnings coming from abroad. So we got a little too much exposure, to
Yeah, 50% for Mag 7 is that's that's a lot, man. 40, I mean, but even 41% for S&P is high too. I
yeah.
mean,
When
that's damn near half.
you got to think we're not manufacturing all of our greatest tech companies when we're talking about semiconductor chips, when we're talking about the materials needed to make these semiconductor chips, when we're talking about fabrication, a lot of that is coming from abroad. When we're
Right.
talking about market share, it's not just American companies investing in infrastructure. It's not just American companies investing in data centers and AI. A lot of that is going on abroad as well. So yeah, it makes sense that 50% of Max ever earnings are coming from abroad because we don't just buy iPhones in America. We don't just
Yeah.
buy supercomputers in America. We're not just developing robotics and a generative AI and agentic AI and all of these things over here in America. They're doing it abroad as well. And pros and bittersweet, or I guess you can look at the pros and cons. Our companies don't just sell to Americans. They sell
Right.
abroad, and that's part of the reason why we see a lot of the gains, a lot of the returns, a lot of these amazing earnings and great guidance is because they're depending on America, China, and other countries, to push those returns. So it's a sticky situation, man. It's a sticky situation.
Yeah. I just I think this, if anything, should put a huge spotlight as to why it's important to be able to manufacture at least the really important stuff to you as from a GDP perspective, from national security perspective, a whole lot, mainly those two, but you have to have some level of manufacturing home, home base.
Yeah.
If you are totally dependent on other countries for certain supply chain needs and manufacturing in general, you're really not in a good position because anything can happen, as we can see. And then now because you're beholden to other countries. I mean, you're pretty much screwed. Your hands are pretty much tied. So for me personally, I never like to be in that position, even in my personal life. So I for shit show wouldn't want to be in that position. Um, as a country or government, definitely presents some issues there. I read somewhere, I think it was today that I read this, but Apple was basically loading up planes with iPhones to get them over here before the tariffs get into place.
Yeah.
So I mean, that just goes to show you how, like, bro, these companies, regardless of what their political affiliation was, they got to feel this. And I mean, I've been watching, the Bitcoin chart is up right here, right? bro, I didn't watch Bitcoin lose $300. So like, and that's not a lot, but that for the common person, that's a major exchange of money that quickly. So it's not just these companies, but all these markets, they feeling it. All these markets are feeling it. It'll be interesting to see how these stock companies navigate these tariffs. I mean, Q1 earnings is one thing because maybe the tariffs weren't really in place. It was some, you know, they were out definitely being talked about, this, that, and the third, some back and forth. But I really am curious to see how Q2 is different than Q1 from an earnings perspective, and if tariffs really impact earnings Q2 and beyond.
Well,
So I'll be definitely interested in that.
I think it'll have a big effect. And one of the biggest things will probably be capex because in regards to tariffs, when you're talking about building out infrastructure, you're talking about buying chips and all of these type of things. Those things need certain raw materials and certain things from abroad in order to make that happen. And with these tariffs, the price of that just went up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So if these companies
Hmm.
plan on spending, 70 million in capex before, now that 70 million may not be able to get you, what you plan on getting, So in regards to the guidance, in regards to a lot of uncertainty, you may see a lot of companies not being able to give the guidance they thought they were going to be able to give in this next earning. You might see companies coming in with conservative guidance. You might see companies coming in, really playing it safe and, guiding that, hey, our bottom lines are going to be affected. And we're kind of on standby. And as you know, the market's not going to like that, which could be another catalyst for driving a lot of the stock prices down. So we'll just have to see, man. These tariffs really affect a lot. I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to that, but it's definitely going to affect a lot.
Yeah. And in terms of crypto, I mean, tariffs aren't directly related to anything in crypto, but you still see the markets react similar to tariffs, how the stock market does. And the main reason is because no market likes uncertainty. And because of the, crypto is definitely more, it's become more mainstream. So more people own it. And when you need liquidity, hey, man, you just need liquidity. You really don't care where you get it from. So you'll definitely see sell-offs in the crypto market as well if things ain't looking right in regard to tariffs, and guidance. From a stock perspective, could impact the crypto markets without even being related. So it's very interesting times. We'll just have to see, man. We'll just have to see. But moving on to the market, it's a lot on sale right now. Despite everything going on, I'm definitely excited for what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Because hey, it's not exactly 2020, but it kind of feel like 2020 right now. I ain't gonna lie.
Tell you what, it's not 2020, but for those of you that missed, the rally in 2018, for those of you that missed the 2020 rally, for those of you that missed the rally that happened after 2022, so around 2023, 2024, hey man, this is as good as it gets. This is the
But
opportunity that everybody claims that they've been waiting for. We thought it would be, years out before we got an opportunity like this. We're seeing amazing companies on discount, amazing companies trading at great multiples. It's to the point I don't even know what to buy. So many things that I want, so
right.
many things that's looking so attractive to me right now.
I mean, that's a good problem to have. Is too many options. I've been racking my brain the last couple of days. I spent most of the weekend formulating my plan on what to attack. And I got my plan together now. So it's all about executing. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and hop over to the markets, man. Let's go ahead and check
And,
this out. Let's see what's on discount.
and while you pull that up, let me say this. And y'all getting a sneak peek because this is going to be another video I'm doing on my personal YouTube channel. It's coming out later on. It's talking about how to buy the dip. You know, a lot of people are asking me, should I be buying? Should I be selling? Of course, I'll tell them no. Definitely don't be selling right now. But should I be buying? Hey, I got some money. It's the perfect time to buy. Yes, but buy strategically. Buy strategically. When you're looking, like he got these charts pulled up, find out where the price is. If you buy at this price, look for another 10% correction. Buy at that price. Then you set another price, 15 at another 5%. Now you're 15. You buy there. Another 5% down. You're at 20%. Buy there. You got to be strategic in buying that dip. Don't just buy willy nilly. Come with a game plan, man.
Right. For me, I don't even start buying, especially if I expect a pullback or correction. I don't even start buying certain assets until it hits my golden ratio.
But I don't even want people. A lot of people don't know how to chart. So I don't even want people trying to
They
time.
don't.
Don't
They
try to.
don't.
If you don't know technical analysis, don't try to time the market. Don't try to time the market. You see a 5-10% pullback, buy. You see another 5%. Now we're down 15%, buy. Another 5%. Now we're down 20, buy. Don't try to time the market because y'all don't know what y'all doing. And I'm gonna tell you, tell you like this, bro. And if we're being honest, even people who know technical analysis, who know how to read charts, who know how to do this, know how to do that, that doesn't mean that they know how to call the bottom.
Oh no.
So
And
don't try.
anybody that's real about it and not just trying to sell you snake oil will tell you they don't know how to time. Nobody knows how to time the market, bro.
Don't be trying to time the market, man. Take what you can
Mm-mm.
get. Buy the dips strategically. Don't unload your money all at once. Like right now, don't unload your money all at once on, let's say, Nvidia right now, and then Nvidia news come out tomorrow and Nvidia dropped to $50. Now you looking crazy. Be
Yeah.
strategic with it. Be patient. Don't blow your load all in one go. And don't be trying to time. Oh, I'm gonna wait, man. I ain't gonna buy. I think it's going down lower. And they say you look
Right.
at Nvidia at 130. You didn't miss the opportunity.
Right. So he is definitely right, especially if you don't really, if you just looking to accumulate, you really don't know no TA or nothing like that, man. Don't try and dabble in something that you don't know nothing about. But I will say this: I've been waiting patiently for Bitcoin to
Hey,
get into this area
months.
months. So now that it is in my golden ratio, I'm buying. Even if it go down, because I'm gonna show you assets that most of the assets I care about have hit the golden ratio and continued lower. I utilize this golden ratio as a starting point.
Mhm.
So like I don't start buying, me personally. This does not work for everybody. And sometimes it don't even enter the golden ratio. Sometimes it just chills on top of it and then takes off. Uses the golden ratio as a spring. So you got to be prepared for that. Got to have a plan for that. But there's been plenty of times where I don't start buying until it hits that golden ratio and it started trading within it like Bitcoin is now. And then say it continues lower. I'm just buying, like you said, every 10%. I think one of my automated trades is like every 5 or every 10%.
5 to 10. Not
So
5, 10, 15, 20. Follow it down.
right. Like and it's just automatic hitting every 10%, every 5%. I'm adding to that position. But like you said, I know what I'm doing. So even if you don't know what you're doing, bro, like at these prices, if we drop another 5% tomorrow, I would be buying personally. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the crypto market so we can hop over to the stocks. But examples of assets that I care about that have hit the golden ratio and continued lower. This was the golden ratio up here. It hit it way back in January, February of this year.
What is that, Flare?
Continued lower. Yeah, this is Flare.
Uh,
Ticker FLR. We way down here now. So I've been buying since golden ratio and a little bit at a time on the way down. Um, and that's just one of those assets that I believe in. So I'm
what do you
buying
say?
them dips.
What do you say about people who, in regards to certain assets, because somebody could look at that chart and say, okay, you got the golden ratio marked up and it's fell well below that, are you catching a falling knife?
You can look at it like that. But again, it just depends on your conviction level for those assets. That's why I don't recommend buying anything that you don't know nothing about. I could be falling, trying to catch a falling knife, but if you look at this support level here, it's really not a falling knife because we've dipped below this support level before. And what do? We go back. So, certain levels are being tested right now. Certain fundamentals are being tested right now. We're gonna see if market structure holds up. If it don't, then shit really did hit the fan. So we're gonna see. Well, that's Flare. Here's Velo again. Golden ratio up here, falling all the way down to this support level here, retesting this level. Boom. We'll see what happens. Each time we've touched this level, we've taken off. So hey,
And
hey,
it's a such things. We like to give y'all terminology. When you're looking at stuff like that, don't always look at a stock falling as a bad thing. You're going, like you said before, you're going to make higher highs and higher lows.
right.
We're
Right,
not
and
just
that's exactly what a lot of my analysis has been is like, oh, we just making a higher low. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. There's nothing to worry about. That's well within market structure. Here's XRP, golden ratio. We well within that golden ratio. This is another asset right along with Bitcoin that I've been waiting months to hit my golden ratio. It finally has. It's trading in that area. So yeah, I started my accumulation again of XRP. Ondo Finance,
Yeah.
another one. Golden ratio, it's below my golden ratio, but it looked like we just testing this trend line here. Got to adjust it a little bit.
Would you say that? Would you say looking at these charts? Would you say that crypto is officially in a bear market?
No, this is
Okay.
normal. This is as crazy as this sounds. This is normal for the crypto market.
All right.
Like I'm not. I haven't even blinked. Because this is normal. This is just every day. For crypto, another one. Golden ratio well below. It's testing this bottom support level here. When's the last time it's touched that support level? Way back here in 2023. But look, it hugged it for a little bit, and then
Mhm.
we took off to almost $3. So I mean, hey, history don't really ever repeat. It can, but it for sure rhymes.
Yeah.
So you find them key levels, man. If it's an asset that you have high conviction in, man, just pay attention to those levels. Now, Ethereum, man.
Mm.
Hey, if you hold Ethereum and you an Ethereum maxi, dog,
That's a strong downtrend.
bro, that is a strong downtrend. Like the only one of
It
these
ain't even they
assets
not
that,
it ain't even really no they damn near falling below the last support level, but they damn near really
bro,
be
like y'all kind of.
hanging
Hey,
on
I
by
gotta check on my ETH boys, man. Like y'all all right over there?
a talent. What's going
Hey,
on?
hey, we gonna see. We gonna see. But the only chart that has kind of concerned me is Ethereum, honestly. If I'm being completely honest with you. Everything else is normal. Everything else looks pretty normal from the crypto perspective. But as you can see, I got my levels marked up and I've just been buying. As long as I stick to my plan, I don't really I typically do well as long as I stick to my plan. The minute I start deviating from my plan, that's when things start going the wrong way. But that's the crypto market. Like I said, man, I got my eyes on certain assets. To me, this is very much so normal for the crypto market. I'm not really phased by any means. This is a opportunity of a lifetime for most of those assets that I showed you. None of this is financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm gonna stick to my plan. I got my plan, concocted it, know what to do, got certain assets targeted. Hell, I plan on packing a bag next week, give or take, and keep going like that.
Hey man. Hey, pull up the chart for Nvidia.
Yeah, this in video right here.
Okay. So now y'all see where we at, right? A lot of people a lot of people we heard people saying the AI trade was over, Nvidia is this, Nvidia is that, and what I need people to realize is when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to companies like Nvidia that are not only just dominating what's going on now, if you look at their guidance and their outlook, they're already announcing products spanning all the way out to 2027. This is a company
Mm-hmm.
that is molding the future and having their hands in everything from, robotics to autonomous vehicles to quantum, healthcare sector. They're everywhere. So when you see things at these levels, when you see things fall out of the trend line and they may start going towards the downside, again, not investing advice, but for somebody like me who's a long-term investor, who knows what this company is about, who knows the fundamentals, and who knows, the plans of this company in regards to their guidance, these are buying opportunities. These are opportunities. And granted, let me just say this. A lot of these downturns that we're seeing is not fault of any of these companies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the reason that we even see stocks like Nvidia and other things falling out of these trades is because of a lot of geopolitical tensions, a lot of rumors like the deep seek situation, a lot of macro news that in the grand scheme of things when we look up 2-3 years from now won't even matter. So I need people to zoom out and think about the bigger picture when you're looking at these things. Then can you pull up Micron ticker symbol MU? So this is another one that you kind of look crazy, don't it? Look,
Yeah, this kind of look like Ethereum.
it look kind of crazy, don't it? But when you look at the fundamentals, when you look at what they do, when you look at you know a company like Nvidia and other companies, Micron makes high bandwidth memory chips. They're the best in the business. Their components are in a lot of the greatest tech coming out right now. So this is another one that I believe that is going to turn around, and their technology is definitely being used now and in the future, looking into guidance and a lot of the products that are getting ready to come out. So this is another one that I'm excited at these prices to be able to finally be able to get in, because Micron was running up for a little bit. So I'm excited to be able to get in on these prices. And then what's the one more that we can pull up? Palantir. Everybody was talking about Palantir. Palantir was running up crazy, just a couple months ago. And, a lot of people jumping ship on Palantir right now. I don't know why, but
Yeah, I don't know. If anybody is going to take or be able to take advantage of this upcoming political climate, I would think it would be Palantir. And it honestly ain't really took a hit like that. Not
no.
from these tariffs, at least from last time I looked at this chart. Because I mean, don't let me not speak too soon. I'll say that because Palantir at $45, $46 is still on the table.
I got Palantir. My buying range for Palantir is anywhere from $50 to $65. Of course, I would like to get a lower, but 50 to 65 is my sweet spot for Palantir. I don't really see Palantir going much lower than that, because regardless of what's going on in the market right now, people know what Palantir is about. Palantir, for what they do, they're the only one in the space. They're kind of like an Nvidia, and I think Palantir is going to be a beast long term. They got government contracts on lock. They're getting into the commercial sector. They're doing a lot right now. But Palantir is definitely one of those ones that I'm excited to be able to get in at some lower prices as well, because that's an amazing company.
So the only thing that has me concerned about Palantir's chart is all these gaps, these fair value gaps it has.
Hmm.
So there's a gap right here which got filled right here, and then gap right here that hasn't been filled yet. So I wonder if it'll ever come back and grab that liquidity, or is that trade just gone? But the last major gap is like right here, which is why I said I could see Palantir coming down to this 46.50 price,
Hey,
because it filled this gap at the 90, in between 84 and $100. So
mhm.
it's filled that gap. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it came down here to fill this gap. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but these are the three levels I have marked up. Um, if it happens, that's a great buying opportunity. If it doesn't, I mean, hell, even Palantir at its current price is a really good buying opportunity compared to the prices that we're used to seeing Palantir at. So,
Yeah, especially for the long term.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, any other ones that you want to take a look at?
Um,
We got TSM,
this TSM right here,
which yeah, this TSM, which looks
that
similar to Micron.
TSM really makes no sense to me, because I feel like the market gets carried away sometimes, and the market kind of overreacts to a lot of things, because there's no way that TSM should be falling like that, because there is no AI without TSM.
Right.
So I mean, I don't understand that, but hey, that's why I say, when you know what these companies do, when you know who they serve, when you know the fundamentals, buying opportunities. Anytime,
Yeah.
anytime TSM is on discount, you should be buying it up. There's no AI, there's no tech without TSM.
I mean, it has a gap here coming down, so it has to be filled on the way up. So I mean, I could see TSM making a rally, but as you can see, this the price is all over the place, and maybe this is just a bad feed, but it's almost nothing but value gaps, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, maybe I have a bad chart that I need to switch around. But Palantir looks, or not Palantir, TSM. It tried. It tried to retouch this level. We'll see if it ends up doing it. But hey, TSM at 131 compared to what we was just seeing it at
Price,
227,
great
bro.
price,
That's a good price.
great price. And if you believe in AI, if you believe in a lot of this infrastructure and capex spend, then that's easy money for TSM. They definitely gonna rebound, because in order to do any of that, you're gonna need TSM to fabricate those chips. So just saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a quick little market update.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nothing from my perspective is nothing to be afraid of.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, this is pretty normal in crypto, but of course, you have those emotional investors in every market. There's plenty of people that have been in crypto for a very long time who are still extremely emotional, who are mad that the crypto markets haven't moved. I mean, you have those people in every micro community, um, complaining about price, complaining about this, complaining about that. You gotta look for the forest through the trees, you know what I'm saying? Or you gotta see the trees from the forest. Or you gotta see the forest from the trees. That's what it is. So what that basically means is, man, just zoom out, look at the bigger picture. Have fundamentals changed? No. What's driving a lot of the downward pressure right now? It's geopolitical action. So it's not even on the behalf of these companies or these cryptos in particular. And the fact that all markets, except for maybe gold or metals in general, are taking a hit like this, that should tell you something. That should tell you something. So I'm buying. I basically gave you my buy list. So hope you was paying attention. Um, and yeah, you don't hear me complaining.
Nah, I think a lot of people, especially if you're new to the market or if you're a couple years young in the market, use this as a learning opportunity. There are a lot of learning moments. Pay attention to the VIX and how it reacts to certain news and how it reacts to certain levels. Pay attention to the fear and greed index. Pay attention to the charts, and how certain stocks and certain companies react to certain news or doesn't react to certain news. Pay attention to these earnings. Pay attention to guidance and how the stock market reacts to certain guidance and certain information and certain numbers. Use these things, put it in your toolbox, so when you move forward, you're able to go back and apply that knowledge because even with the VIX, as we can see, it's looking like now looking forward, you can say, okay, a key level for the VIX can be, we know anywhere in that 40 to 50 range for the VIX could be some buying opportunities in that range, that 40 to
Right,
50 range. So pay attention to certain things so that way going forward, you know how to move and that you can structure your game plan in a way that's based on, fundamentals and not just emotions. Because when you invest emotionally, that's when you get to making mistakes. So when you get to selling out of positions, you get to selling and buying the news, and that can leave you with your pants down, man.
for sure, for sure, for sure. But pay attention. Had it on the swivel. We'll be back next Monday with some updates, of course. But yeah, this tariff situation is a developing situation. It ain't over. It don't look like it's gonna be over. The markets may bleed a little bit more, so be prepared for that. But just like in 2020, we bled and then we chopped around for a little bit and then we took off. So, like I said earlier, history don't always repeat, but it often rhymes. So, be on the lookout for something similar to happen. Not exact, but something similar could happen. And those who paid attention and those who took advantage, man, they're gonna be. Hey, this time next year, people might be singing a different tune. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But with
Execute.
that being said, go ahead.
Execute. I just want to say one last thing. Execute. The people that execute now, I'm saying this because I know this. I can promise you this for 100% fact. I can't tell you when the market is going to turn around, but I can tell you for 100% fact that the market is going to recover, and those that execute it during these times of uncertainty, during these times of fear, will greatly appreciate it. And those that didn't execute, sat on the sidelines, didn't pay attention to any of the information that's been given here, a lot of other places, you're gonna be wishing, that you got in on the fun, man. Execute.
Right, right, right. With that being said, man, we'll catch you on the next one.
See y'all later, bro.
Peace.